Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Wells, and welcome to Faces of NextGen Live. I'm pretty excited about today's show because, honestly, I get to talk to a woman that I really respect, and she, in fact, was one of the first genealogists that I met. But I need to tell you first a little bit about what this show does, in case you didn't already know. So Faces of NextGen Live is where we interview NextGen genealogists and get to know them. And even if you follow along with the live stream, you're able to even ask them questions. So today, I'm lucky enough to introduce to you Melanie Frick, the genealogist Melanie Frick. How are you doing today, Melanie?
Hi, Eric. I'm doing well. Nice to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're being had. So, you want to just do a little chit chat, or how would you like to? You want to just start in with the interview?
Whatever you think, Eric.
Okay.
I'm up for anything.
You know what's kind of nice is I remember the very first time that I met you, and it was with a bunch of other people up at the NGS conference in St. Charles. It was or St. Louis or something like that.
Yeah, St. Charles. Yep.
St. Charles.
2015.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
2 years ago.
And I had just began in the genealogy area. Not began, but I had been working really hard on this project, and I really began to love genealogy, and I forgot, and I wanted to sort of meet people like myself who were interested in it, but also of my own age group. And I found the website, and I saw that you had a meetup, but I had no idea what NGS was at the time. And so I drove from Springfield here all the way up to St. Louis, and it's like a 3.5-hour drive just to meet with you guys. Unbeknownst to me, there was this huge national genealogy conference going on at the same time.
Yes, that was very, very fortunate for us that you showed up. I'm sorry you didn't know about NGS in advance, so you could have enjoyed it too, but it was great to have you there.
I remember pulling into the parking lot of the convention center, and I'm just like, I was there early, and I just start seeing all of these older folks just pouring out of the doors, and they all have these badges on, and I'm thinking, what's going on?
Are they all here for the NextGen meetup?
Yeah. I thought these were supposed to be younger genealogists. But I found you guys in the bar area, and just started talking, and you guys were it was so fun. It was really, really fun and nice to see you folks there.
Yeah, it really was a lot of fun. It was definitely one of my more memorable conference experiences. I remember looking at you and saying, wait, you drove 3 hours just for our meetup? And I thought, wow. Meetup's pretty special.
Well, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great.
All right. So, are you ready to do this now? We kind of broke the ice a little bit, even though we know each other for 2 years now.
I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question I like to be asking is, what is your age? You don't have to tell me the specific age if you don't want, but maybe an age range or something like that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm 29, so nearing my 30s.
Okay. I'm tapping or knocking on the door of 40s, so it could be worse, Melanie.
And share all your wisdom with me.
I don't have any wisdom for you. When did you first start getting interested in genealogy?
I was probably about 12 years old when I really got into it. My dad had been the genealogist in the family before me, although he'd kind of not given it up, but had stopped being so active in it a few years before I was born, because my mom had suggested to him that he spend more time with the living than the dead. Of course, that was the day when if you wanted to do genealogy research, you had to go spend days in the libraries in our local family history library branch. So I can understand that. Now it's a little easier to balance with family. So he was pretty excited, I think, when I started to get interested in it. He'd shared some stories with me. So yeah, when I was about 12, 13, I started becoming really active. I can still pull up old message board posts on genealogy forums that I wrote way back then.
Oh, really?
Just came across one the other night. I was excited for a second. I thought, oh, someone else is searching for this ancestor. Oh, never mind. That was me in 2001. So yeah, really, it's been a big chunk of my life now that I've been pursuing it.
So you kind of, like many of us, got into genealogy since the advent of the internet. And
that's right.
And
I never had to do it without.
Yeah, I have my my wife's grandmother's genealogy research, and there are so many copies of the rice paper that, or the what I don't know what it's called, rice paper, that when she was typing a letter, she would put like a carbon sheet between the letter and this paper, and so she would have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you imagine having to how long it would take to do the work?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, I think, to our generation, especially because every year there's more and more information available online.
Yeah.
To say that I still don't have to do research on site and in libraries from time to time, it's amazing how much you can do from home.
In your pajamas.
Exactly.
So you've researched your family tree, and I would imagine like you've got it. Of course, it's not done, but you've got it pretty well laid out.
Yes.
Who is the ancestor that you would most like to meet?
That is a tough question because it feels kind of like playing favorites. I couldn't even choose one ancestor to name my daughter after because that felt too much like favorites to me.
So you have a brand new daughter?
I do, but she's not really named after anyone.
Okay.
which shocks everyone. As a genealogist, they think I would do that, but no, it was just too hard to choose. So
you would have ended up with like a name like super long.
Yeah. But an ancestor I'd like to meet. I never met my maternal grandmother. She passed away before I was born, so I really would like to have had a chance to meet her and talk to her. Beyond that, there's quite a few people who I have questions for, some of the more elusive ancestors, and I would like to sit them down and quiz them about their whereabouts and their origins. That would be helpful.
Like bring them back to life for a few hours or something like that.
Yeah, I could break down all these brick walls. If only.
So what was one of your most surprising discoveries that you made?
There are always discoveries that are fun and surprising, and I think that's a big part of what keeps it going. There's always something new, and every day can be a good day if you are finding a new piece of information. I do remember when I first learned that I had an ancestor who fought and died in the Civil War, and I'd been researching for a number of years at that point. I was in college. I was home on Christmas break and decided to use my break time to delve into research a little bit again. And I remember coming across this Civil War ancestor, and I was so excited. I called my boyfriend, now my husband, and I said, I found an ancestor who's in the Civil War, and he's German. So he was trying to be very understanding and supportive, and he said, okay, so you seem very excited. Is this a big deal? But it really was a big deal because it went on to me being able to find a very involved pension file. I was able to tie together a lot of connections for this family. Wow. And it was helpful too because I hadn't known much about this branch as his son, my ancestor, had died when he was in his 20s when he was accidentally shot by his brother-in-law on the Kansas frontier. So all the family stories had gone with him, and now I feel I was able to learn much more about that side of the family again.
I kind of had a similar experience researching my family. Half of my family came from a quarter of my family came from the Netherlands, and none of them fought in the Civil War. And so it took a little time, but I found one person who had, actually it was a brother. And I was excited, but because it was just somebody's, like a brother of one of my ancestors, and he was shot and killed in the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He fought for the Confederates. He was on the southern border.
Oh, well, I had a Union ancestor, but he died of disease.
Oh. Was he in one of those camps, or did he?
He not like a prison camp, but he died down in Missouri between battles.
That's where I'm at. I'm in Missouri.
I know. Send you out on a research expedition for me.
I could do that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection till now.
It took 2 years. And how
Yeah.
many times have we talked over the video?
That's right.
So what are some of your favorite books, genealogy or otherwise?
I've always really liked to read. And I definitely have some genealogy standbys that are helpful when I'm doing research. Evidence explained, I always keep on hand for writing source citations.
Oh, yeah.
But otherwise, it kind of depends on what project I'm doing. So I guess at the ready right now, I'm doing a little client project. Evidence explained. Very nice. Yes. That looks familiar. So yeah, I took on a little client project this month to do some antique photo analysis for someone who they have some old family photos not identified. They're trying to get an idea of what time period they're from, so that they're able to maybe help pinpoint which ancestor it might be. So the books I have on my desk right now are Family Photo Detective by Maureen Taylor.
Oh,
and
wow.
This is a nice one for helping to learn about the different photographic medium, the different clothing styles that go into that. And this
I'm going to type it in here type it in the chat. Family Photo Detective.
Yes.
By, what was her name?
Maureen Taylor. Taylor. And then this is a big heavy tome. This is called Dressed for the Photographer by Joan Severa. And this one is also very helpful going into the nitty-gritty of what people were wearing and when and why. But it's helping me solve some photo mysteries. So,
nice. So that Dress for the Photographer book helps you identify time periods by their outfit they're wearing?
Yeah. It's the fashions change surprisingly frequently at times. So sometimes you can pinpoint things quite specifically.
And who's the author of that one?
That is Joan Severa, Severa. If you want to share that in the chat.
Good. It's shared in the chat.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing that. Beyond genealogy reference books, I've always liked to read a lot of historical fiction. And honestly, I think a lot of the reading I did growing up influenced me as a genealogist, because just learning the day-to-day life of people in different chapters of history, even through something like Little House on the Prairie, it really helped me be able to envision what my ancestors' lives were like, which makes them that much more real.
Yeah. My wife just started listening to the Outlander series.
Oh yeah, that's been big in my life in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah?
Yes. I enjoy those too. They've also got a little bit of that genealogy element. So
really, I was considering picking it up with her too, but just haven't.
Yeah.
And I think they made a TV series out of it or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, are you watching that too?
Yes, I am.
Those are some great books. I actually like those two photo books that you recommended. I have only 2 photos that I can't identify the ancestors, who are in it, and so I might shoot you 2 of them.
Yeah. Feel free to. It's fun.
And so, when you're doing your research, where's your favorite place to do this research?
Would it be weird if I said my couch?
No.
Because honestly, I mean, there's nothing I like more than getting comfortable. I've got a snack. I've got my laptop open. I'm seeing whatever new record sets are on Ancestry, seeing who I can find, or I'm working on a project. That to me, that's a perfect day. But of course, the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, I've also had the pleasure of working at, and that can't be beat. You have everything at your fingertips. It can be completely overwhelming if you go in there and realize that, because it's hard to know where to begin. But when I've gone in with a plan, it's been great, to put it lightly.
Yeah, I got to visit the library with the Roots Tech last year, and
good.
you were right. It is overwhelming if you don't have
Yes.
a plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I didn't bring this up at the beginning. You were actually on the leadership for the NextGen Genealogy Network.
Oh, yes. Yep. Been on the leadership team since 2013, the early days. So it's been a lot of fun. Gotten to know a lot of fun people through it.
And tell us what position you're in.
I am the content coordinator. So I've been, for the last couple of years, collecting and sharing a variety of blog posts and also getting together our newsletter that goes out over email. So that's been fun. Right now we're sharing some blogs from people that are all about building connections between generations. So things they've learned from other generations, things they've shared with other generations, and how that all ties together.
Yeah, that's just something we rolled out earlier this year. The shoot, what is it called? The Coffee Connection?
Yes.
Yes, the Coffee Connection. Yeah, and I liked it. Gotten some decent response, but not as overwhelming like we would like. But I think just need to keep pushing it out there.
Keep going.
Yeah. So, what areas do you want to learn more about? Like, what areas of research that you may not have already had experience doing?
Well, I do intend to learn more German so that I can delve more deeply into German records. That's something that I think I know enough to read the birth, the marriage, the death, but I can't read all the fine print in the margins. But I know there's more stories there. But aside from that, I really need and want to learn more about DNA research. I have the basics down, but I know there's so much more I see people doing with chromosome mapping and all of these crazy things that help solve family mysteries. And I know that will come into play in my research eventually. So
yeah,
it's a learning curve to get to that point, I think. But luckily there's more and more great learning resources out there too.
Yeah, even online, there's some great classes you can take on German, and Google Translate, for crying out loud, is amazing for the most part. I don't know why, but I took German for 3 years in high school, and everybody was like, "Why are you taking German?" And this was in California, where right about where you live.
Yeah.
And, I don't know why I took German, whereas Spanish would have been much more useful. But I've come to appreciate it and use it just in this research, because some of my family goes back into Germany, and some my client's family go back into Germany, and it's also helped me read some of the Dutch words too, surprisingly.
I was just going to ask you that, because I also do Danish research, and some of it is close enough I can kind of figure some things out. So that's nice. A lot of crossover.
Yeah. Do you have any specific areas of interest that you like researching about?
Well, I guess most of my research begins in the Midwest, because that's where I'm from. That's where my ancestors, therefore, settled. So I do a lot of Midwest research. I really like the land records, the homestead records. I think those are a lot of fun. But then, before coming to the Midwest, my ancestors came from elsewhere. So I also do, like I said, some German research. I have French, Canadian, and Acadian research, some English. There's some early colonial lines I'm trying to crack, some record scarcity issues there. But I will figure them out. And I also do a lot of Danish research. And a cousin and I are collaborating. We're trying to work together to create a book about a branch of our family who came from Denmark. There was a number of brothers and sisters who all immigrated around the turn of the last century. And so we want to track all of their stories and figure out all of their motivations to come to America. So that's been an ongoing project, but it's fun, and it's nice to have someone to collaborate with.
How much of your family has come from Denmark?
Oh, let's see. My mother is half Danish, and my father is a quarter Danish, so a fair amount.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know what I just learned recently about it's both like a history and a current bit of, and you may already know this, but you know that little Bluetooth symbol on your phone?
Yeah. I don't know where you're going.
What?
I don't know where you're going with this. So this
Yeah, we like that little Bluetooth symbol with like the triangles. It's actually a rune, and
oh,
it is for the King of Denmark, King Harold.
really?
Way back, yeah, the guy who developed Bluetooth just decided to use his name, King Harold, in runes for the symbol.
Oh, that's really interesting. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I see it now on my phone, and I have a whole new appreciation for it because it
Yeah,
makes a whole lot of sense. Like the Wi-Fi symbol makes total sense, but the Bluetooth.
exactly. Yeah. Huh, well, little piece of Denmark in my pocket every day.
So, do you take on any clients, professional?
I Yeah, I do, although much less so than I did before becoming a parent. My time is very limited now. My research time is pretty much limited to nap time, so that's fine. But I've had some really interesting client projects. It is nice to, be able to share with someone everything about their family that they didn't know they didn't know. It's really fun to be able to do that, and also to explore some different backgrounds from my own. I'm learning about different chapters of history that I would have overlooked because they weren't in my own family.
Yeah. That, what makes it kind of interesting for me when I present some or do research or even present research to the clients is uh, telling the story, not only the story of their family or a specific family member, but also the story of how this was discovered, like the what the path was to discovering the story or discovering who these ancestors were, where they came from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important because
Hmm.
so often people don't think about what records their ancestors might have left behind and what that says about them and their path.
Yeah, especially with family members who ran up against a brick wall, and then they give you the research or give us the research, and we work to push through that and find the ancestors that they had no idea, or in the connections that they had no idea existed before.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like is to see their face light up. It's same like teaching or something like, oh, that
Yeah,
big aha moment or that excitement.
exactly. Yeah, the eureka moment.
Yes. So when you first started out doing your research, what do you wish you had known?
Probably how to, make proper source citations. As a 12-year-old genealogist, that was not that was not high on my list of priorities. Um, and also, I think I did speak to my older relatives a lot. Of course, I wish I had done so more. I would have loved to have asked my oldest relatives what they remembered about their oldest relatives, just to make another leap back to the generations. So there's always more there that I think is so important to get that oral history down.
Yeah, yeah. And then, do you take any, or do you go to any conventions at all? Because I
Yes,
know to at least one.
that's right. You're a witness. So my first time at a genealogy conference or institute of any kind was back in 2011. I went to the National Institute on Genealogical Research at the National Archives. So at that point, I'd been a genealogist for well over 10 years. I'd graduated college with a degree in history, so I knew about performing proper research. I still had no idea about evidence explained. People were talking about this Elizabeth Shown Mills, and I thought, well, who's that? Don't you just kind of adapt Chicago style or something? And in my class, I remember was Judy Russell, the legal genealogist. I
Oh,
didn't know who she was. I just thought she was this really well-spoken, smart lady, and that was nice. And didn't know I was in the presence of greatness. But it was a really good learning experience. And from that, I've also done the Salt Lake Institute of Genealogy. That was a really fun course. I've completed the Boston University Certificate of Genealogical Research online, and I really liked that. I liked being able to have a whole semester of doing genealogy. I was sad when it was over.
yeah.
And I've made it to a number of conferences. the NGS conference where I saw you in St. Charles, and also in Vegas and Richmond the years before and after that. Or no, the years before that, rather. I've gone to the Southern California Genealogy Society Jamboree out here in California for 4 years in a row now. This will be my 5th year coming up. And that one's local to me, so it's nice to be able to go home, sleep in my own bed at night. And
yeah, it's right around the corner in Burbank.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's been, I'm sure my conference attending will taper down a notch now that I am a parent, but there's also more and more virtual opportunities in terms of webinars and conferences that are streamed. So I do appreciate that. It's come about at a good time for me.
So your next one is the Jamboree conference, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And we're going to be on a panel together.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And Randy's going to be there too. I interviewed him a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So we're practically the whole group. So we'll be there speaking on the next generation young genealogists in your society. So
yeah, that's a very relevant topic.
I think so.
And I think that the NextGen group is in a really good position to be able to answer that and give ideas of how to move forward.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have a panel of 6 people, so 6 different perspectives. I think it will come together well.
Yeah. All right, and I got one last question. Where can people find you out on the interwebs?
All right. Well, I blog at homesteadgenealogy.com, and I tweet at Homestead Gen. And I also have a Facebook page for my blog. That's facebook.com/Homestead Genealogical Research. I believe.
Yeah, you use Twitter quite a bit. I'm not much of a Twitter user, but I see you on Twitter quite often.
Yeah, so I'm making an effort. Yeah, I do try to blog at least once a month, sharing a family story, and I really do enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I don't blog nearly as often as I should. I've got all these great ideas and really neat experiences that I want to share. And not only that, the cousin baiting is awesome.
That's what it's all about, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And I need to do that more often, much more often. I really did enjoy it, but it took me so long to lay out my thoughts and ideas. It didn't just flow right out like I had hoped it would.
Yeah, it's time consuming. It's definitely trying to weed through everything I want to share and sharing it in a, easily digestible chunk.
Yeah. Well, Melanie, thank you very much for meeting and talking with me today. I had a lot of fun.
Yes, it was fun. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Did you have fun? Because I know you were a little nervous.
I did have fun. Thanks.
Well, you're a little shy at the beginning, and now you're embarrassed at the end. So we're
in full circle, right?
Yeah, bookend with emotions.
Yes. It was great to talk to you, Eric.
You as well. All right, I'm going to try this new outro thing that I haven't done before, so we'll see how this goes. Melanie, thanks again, and we will have another one of these coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll make sure that we get an event on Facebook and blast it out to Twitter and stick it up on YouTube as well. So look for that. I'm actually very excited to interview our next guest. I'm not going to tell you quite who that guest is, but you'll have to look at all of the links to see who it is. I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and do this outro. Let's do this.